Okay, so it is about that time. I've had my fun with Alicia. I've been trying her out. I've tried on 2 sets with her just to kind of get a feel, because at the end of the day, for anyone who is not aware, Alicia has been changed up. Now, I'm just going to say this. I did get a bit of a heads up. On Monday, I got a heads up to say that Alicia is going to be more DPS. Obviously I didn't do a video on it because we were unsure on whether or not if that was the case. Lo and behold, she's changed up, and yes, she is way more DPS orientated than I would say support. She still has that support play going for her, but she's more on the DPS side of things. So that was a bit of a surprise. So this is kind of what I'm rocking right now in terms of the sets. Now again, this is one of the viable sets that I have originally mentioned within the build video that I did for Alicia. Especially if you have a first dupe being A1, you can really cater to the toughness set, because of course you are getting that 20% crit rate and crit damage when the shield gets applied, so that's absolutely beautiful. But you also got the solid foundation set, which I also have that at the ready. I had, thankfully I had the solid foundation set, and then I had a toughness set, so that's why I made the switch. But why is it not? What's going on? Okay, change artifacts, there we go. But yeah, I did have a solid foundation set ready for her. Not the best, but it was somewhat decent. But this toughness set that I've got going on right now is a little bit more better, and I can always make it more better in terms of the, I think it's the, well, body's giving me that +3 crit rate, so you know, if I can get attack somewhere going with that, that would have been beautiful. But either way, that's kind of what I'm working with. Got +3 attack on that and on this bad boy, so that was beautiful. I kept with the additional attack main stat only because I got a +2 on the attack, but I'm waiting for the main stat attack item to drop for me. And with some good substats, because this is kind of nice. Defense, pen, attack, crit hit damage, although +2 went to damage reduction, so I'm kind of pissed about that. Gonna need to get something better for this too, so that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now, but it is working beautifully. So that's kind of like the build side of things. In terms of the skill sets, realistically, basic skills and core damage is what I would say you really want to push. I did put the ultimate up just a tad bit, so then when it is the rotation where I can do ultimate to core attack, that's 2 big damages. That's I'm basically doing back-to-back millions, like 2 mil drop from these 2. It's insane. But yeah, basic skills you want to cater to, and then the core damage, and then obviously get the ultimate leveled up just a tad bit. So just kind of wanted to go through that. Now in terms of the changes, what are the changes? So first things first, obviously we're all aware when doing the internal frost, winter storm or ice needle, you gain yourself a frost. That's 1 frost per these skills, so once you get 3 frost, you can then do your core attack, which changes to bitter cold spear. Now something which I was not aware of is when you activate, or when you have 3 frost consumed, your core attack automatically activates to bitter cold spear, which means you are dropping bombs. You don't have to do your basic attack to make it into your core attack. Your core attack is already activated, ready to drop. So that's why that changes a lot of things right now. So bitter cold spear damages increased by 60 per frost instances that has been consumed, increasing up to 180%, duration infinite stacking to 5 times. So of course they have toned that down a tad bit, but it makes sense because obviously with the A5 that does play a huge role. So they've also buffed the A1, because the A1, I believe I can remember, was at 16% or 12%, one of the two. But when the shield is active, which is from Winter Storm, of course, she gets an increase in her crit rate and crit damage by 20%. So now when you're doing the rotation, realistically, what I would suggest, because how long is the shield on for? 8 seconds. If you can make the 8 seconds count, then fair play. But what I like to do is I like to do the shield last. So my rotation is, this basic skill is always going to be activating last, so that way when I have 3 instances of frost, I can go straight into my core attack while benefiting from having the crit rate and crit damage increase of 20%, whilst I've got the artifacts giving me that extra additional boost along with the substats. So that's something that you can really cater to. Now I mentioned this before, A2 is pretty much the bare minimum where you want to get Alicia. If you're looking into dupes for Alicia, I highly recommend you go for A2. A2 allows you to drop your core attack multiple times whilst Alicia is on the field, which means you can really benefit from that big AoE damage, that big damage in general, along with the freeze play. So if you are looking to dupe her out, A2 bare minimum. 100%. And then of course through that, if the enemy is frozen, you get the additional 30% increased damage. That is just cracked. That's insane. It's beautiful. I love it. Because the freeze, well, the consistency of the freeze that Alicia provides, it is so constant that this A3 is actually massive. It is massive. And then the user's water damage increased by 16%. So one of the big changes is she's no longer just full on supporting the whole water squad. She's now just kind of benefiting herself. So this is the big change, as I've mentioned, on why Alicia is now full on DPS. And then lastly, her last dupe, which has completely changed from support to DPS, increases the Bitter Cold Spear damage dealt by 50%. When Bitter Cold Spear hits it applies the freeze effect. This is ridiculous because the AoE spread on this is insane. This Alicia, AoE freeze damage and her damage in general just being full on DPS, it's disgusting. Like, they really have, in my opinion, from what we saw before, being that support DPS Alicia, this is a buff. This is a buff version of Alicia, and she's disgusting. So is she worth the pull? You're damn right she's worth the pull. If you were looking to get her dupes, where would I say you want to be at? Minimum A2. A2 is where you want to be at, bare minimum. So that is my honest opinions of what I think about Alicia so far, especially with the changes that have come about to make her more DPS. She's a fantastic character. Like, to go from Cheyenne to Alicia, god damn, they did a good job, because this girl, she is packing an absolute punch. And so this is kind of what I'm working with right now. So 41% on the crits, attacks at 1500, and then I've tried to cater to a few other stats, being the water damage, along with the well, I was trying to put more into the damage increase, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of that, but it is what it is. Don't look at the healing gift. Oh yeah, I should mention, yeah, I did manage to get a weapon. So increases the user's core attack damage by 40%, and then when the ice body armor effect is active, it increases the water damage dealt by 20% for 20 seconds. So that's an even bigger reason why you want to save your ice body armor skill, being the skill 1, till last, because once that is activated, you can really maximize your next attack, aka it being the core attack. Now, when it comes to character rotation, if you have a A0 to A1, keep her on the 2nd or 3rd slot, so that way you can activate your QTE skill. If you have a A2, then realistically you can keep her, or I messed up right there because I activated my first skill, but that's fine. You can keep her on the 1st slot. So yeah, that's basically what we're working with right now, with how great of a character she is. So she's got range too, so there's that play. So a bunch of enemies, freeze them. I mean, that kind of OHKOs them, and then I'll go into the Whirlwind, which does the OT. Well, it kind of does multiple hits at a time. But then that activates my core attack, activate the core while the shield is applied. Yeah, she is, she's doing a lot, boys. She's doing a lot. And the thing is that this is from her core skill. This is all from her core skill. So I'm not having to worry about the MP consumption, because even if the MP does get low, which it will do, because of course I am running the set, which gives me high, well, it consumes a lot. I then have the ultimate to fall back on, and because I'm getting a +1 instance, yeah, the core attack is just being consistently applied right now. So activate again. Now, as I mentioned before, obviously in team slots, because right now I've got in the 1st slot because she's at A2, so I can effectively just go in, use my 2 skills, and then have that core attack at the ready. I don't need to rely on the QTE skill to give me that +2, although I can, and actually that might be pretty smart to do, to be honest. But this is another thing. The spread on her freeze is ridiculous. Look at this. When it comes to area control characters, yeah, she's pretty much the top character, because that core attack with that freeze, again, this is from the A5, is playing a huge role. Again, keeping that distance, that core attack has range on it. Range to have that much power is disgusting, I will admit. So that's kind of like one of the shocking things for Alicia, to be honest. I wasn't expecting that much of good area control from her. I genuinely thought it was going to be somewhat on par with what Emma is providing, but yeah, in my opinion, Alicia is just that. I say a little bit more, no, a lot more. She's got way too much area control, and then to throw in high amount of damage with that, it's just a perfect package. It really is. So in a boss situation, well, if you do have phases where there's multiple enemies to then a boss situation, you can really maximize your core attack. So right here, right, freeze frozen, we go in, 1.4 million. So when he unfreezes, we can go straight in. I've got my shield still active. Let's see if I get a crit here. And this is what I mean about having to... Oh, damn it, that didn't hit. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. If that did hit, that would have been like 500,000. So that kind of ruins everything. But you guys get to see what I mean about... Okay, we're going to stop you from doing that. And then we're going to move out the way because I don't want to get hit by you. There we go. Even when I'm running low on MP, I mean, clearly I'll be switching in and out, but if I choose to keep Alicia in, at one point the core attack will come into place. Nope. It's like right there, and it's dropping 1/4 mil. I don't know, it's just nice little, I say chip damage. Kind of is, to be honest. And then of course, you know, at this point I'll probably throw in Min with Alicia, of course, so you can get more supports going on. I've also got to mention, obviously with Jiwoo, she also plays that shield play, so by having that I can also benefit from activating Alicia's first skill with Jiwoo. So I'll actually try in here. Actually, I don't want to try in. Let me switch you out. So get Alicia back in here. There we go. Get everything going again. And then we're just dropping big boy numbers. We're getting that ultimate set up. And then once that ultimate is ready to go, we will launch that off. Ultimate's ready. We'll drop it off. We've got the shield activated. Let's see what... there we go. And then the core attack. It's just a nice little lead up. I think that's what it is. That's honestly on what it is. So just to give you guys an idea on what we're looking at with this Alicia, with the combination and that her damage output. Again, you can set her up very, very nicely with other characters. I mean, with Park to give you the bar, Min to provide you with more support. But one thing which I need to test out is something with Jiwoo. So let's do that. With Alicia's support skill, she applied a shield to where, obviously she'll give us a shield scaling off from her attack. 20% of it, that is. And if I had any debuffs, then that would also get removed. Now, the additional thing is that once I had the shield on, if the enemy attacked me, they would freeze, but it doesn't say that, so I kind of want to try it out right now. So there's the ice body armor. No, so it doesn't give me that. Oh, so they've taken it off. Alicia comes in. Ice, yeah, she is. So yeah, that support skill is fantastic. No, it just absorbs. Okay. Alright, and yes, for the sake of the video, she is going to be a beautiful counter for the Cerberus. I know that people are having a tough time for like the stage 10 and whatnot for Cerberus, so if you're like, Shiny, is she it? She is it. If you need that help, if you need that water support to fight against that Cerberus, then do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. I can't blame you. Honestly, this is one of the bosses that even I struggled with and just found super, super annoying, so I respect it. Get your Alicia. I mean, again, the first copy does go a long way, just to give you that support. And then from that point on, you can just really pile it on. Oh my god, how did I avoid that? Holy! But yeah, if you guys do want Alicia, go for it. Let's do it again. Give them the whole shebang. Nope, we're just gonna keep you there, Mr. Doggy. Let's not have you do anything crazy on us, shall we? So yeah, my honest opinion, if you want to go for Alicia, go for her. As it stands right now, I think there's no defense for freezing, right? You can freeze practically any boss as of right now. Not that I'm aware of. For the most part, I've frozen everything. So yeah, that's going to be effective, of course. Good area control, so that's going to be a huge plus. The core attack is just possessing a lot of power. If you get it to minimum A2 is what I would highly suggest. Then you are pretty much guaranteed doing back-to-back in total like 3-4 million, potentially 5. Which is insane to think about, but that's the consistency of that rotation of attacks that she is capable of doing. Yeah, it's insane to think about how seeing the change on the core attack is just the big sell point. I love on how she's built and how her kit is. Wasn't expecting any of this, but hey, she's worth the pull. Keep in mind also, because I know some people are like, damn, A2, I don't know if I want to summon that much. You got to keep in mind she is going to be in the rate up banner on not June 19th, but Alicia will be in the rate up banner either at the end of June or at sometime in the beginning of July. that's when Alicia will be in the rate up banner. So if you want to wait your time and get her now, just the initial copy, to then slowly get her to A2 over time, then you can do that effectively if you choose to. But in terms of how great of a character that she is to what she's providing, there's a lot going on with this unit in terms of the shield play, the AoE control, the damage output, the rotations on her attack to do high amount of damage consistently. I'm glad that I managed to get it to A5. I'm over the moon. But yeah, that A2 I would say is very, very crucial if you want to maximize the damage output. That's kind of like the minimum where you want to be at. So that's my honest opinions about Alicia. That's the amount of fun that I've had with her. I just think she's a fantastic character. That's it.